Yeah. MD, JPB, it's only right, baby.
Yeah, why you mad? I got a bad bro. Name hot in these streets, no Tabasco. But I'm so stuck, that's a fact, yo. And if you think I'm frontin', you can run it back, yo. Go run it back.
You know that I run it. Everything you wanna do, I already done it. And I got your little boo telling me she love me. I got this down, damn, it's gonna be a long night.
Hello guys, what is up? It is me, Prince of This, and I'm back here with another video. I know it's been a while, but I am living in certain conditions, so it's hard for me to post anything, so yeah. But here I am. I'm gonna say it again, it's gonna be harder to post now because things aren't as they used to be, and moving honestly has changed a lot, and I'm not sure I will be able to give you guys as much content as before, so I apologize about that, but let's get into today's video. So last time we left off, Naruto showed his true power to his classmates after years of hiding his true strength for years, and after this he would be put on Team 7 with Sasuke and Sakura. Their captain would be Kakashi, and during their bell test with Kakashi, Naruto would dominate and destroy Kakashi with the help of Sasuke. Then Naruto would heal him, which would make his teammates wonder what his true abilities are, but Kakashi already knew, as he would ask Naruto if his seal had broken. And that's where we are right now. Naruto would stare down Kakashi with hateful eyes as he asked him how he knew that. His entire team would feel his murderous aura, and this scares them all. Naruto, calm down, I'm on your side. If I wasn't, then I would have taken you out before you even awakened. Naruto would realize this actually, makes sense, and he would calm down. Then Kakashi would say that in the middle of the missions, he would tell him how he knows what he knows. So the team would start doing missions, and in between missions, Kakashi would explain that long ago his father placed a seal on him to seal his powers. Specifically the power he calls now Yin Release, that I renamed it obviously, because his father, who was born with this ability, found it hard to control himself. And so he would become something akin to a mindless demon that loses itself to its emotions. His mom's powers, however, were never dangerous, and it was the polar opposite of his father's. And in time, Naruto would develop his mom and dad's powers anyway, but his father truly wished that he didn't get his powers. But since he has awakened his powers, it must have been because he was pushed into a corner and his emotions were riled up to an extreme degree. And seeing that this was the case kind of made Kakashi sad, but Naruto said it's fine because, he ended up getting strong anyway. Now, time skipped to a few days, and the Team 7 would have just started doing some missions, and they would have just given back a kitten to a lady. They had been doing missions like these for days and days, and pretty soon, it got pretty dull and boring for everyone, and Team 7 would want to come to the Hokage's office to report their success on the latest mission. Hiruzen would then tell them what they have to do next, but after hearing what it is that they have to do next, they decide that they had enough, and that they want something more serious. Old man, can't you just give us stronger missions? These missions are lame. Sasuke and Sakura wouldn't say anything, but they do agree. Hiruzen would then say, you guys just recently became Genin. Do you really think you're strong enough to handle something bigger and stronger? Kakashi would then say that he believes that they can do, higher missions, and it shocks Hiruzen to see that Kakashi, of all people, would put so much trust in Genin, and he would think, so I was right, he did awaken. He would then smile as he calls in a drunk old man who would be burping non-stop. Naruto, due to his enhanced senses, would smell the alcohol, and this kind of makes him pissed. Hiruzen would then say, you guys will be escorting this man to the land of waves. As Hiruzen would say this, Tazuna would start to insult Sasuke and Sakura because they don't look that strong, but Naruto, on the other hand, looks buff despite being shorter than Sasuke by a bit. And Naruto is not any taller for now. It's just not going to be like, he will get taller, but not right now. And Naruto had this aura around him that Tazuna just can't ignore. And seeing that Tazuna is making fun of them, Naruto would only chuckle, and Kakashi would then say that on his honor as a Jonin, he swears that these kids will be useful. So Tazuna would trust Kakashi's words because he is Kakashi, and they would get going. While passing by the gate and exiting the village, Naruto would start to get excited as this was his first step to getting out of this village for good. If you don't remember last part, Naruto's goal isn't to become Hokage. He wants to leave Konoha. They're kind of pissing him off, so yeah. Soon they would be walking on a straight road through a forest when Sasuke would ask Naruto something. So, care to explain what's been going on with you lately? Naruto would then say, are you trying to order me around again? Sasuke would then back up a bit as he says, no, Whether or not you tell me the secret of your power or not, I'll surpass you soon anyway. Sakura would then start fangirling, and Naruto notices this, and he says, "Hey Sakura, if you keep paying more attention to Sasuke than your surroundings," he would then launch a dark knife from the palm of his hand into a nearby puddle they just walked by. And as he does this, the two demon brothers would come out and rush at Tazuna from opposite sides. Naruto would then continue talking. "You'll die." Kakashi would be surprised that he noticed the genjutsu and would be shocked at his use of his arc technique. "How do you do that?" asked Sasuke. Naruto then says, "I don't really know, I just do it." Kakashi would then approach saying, "Regardless, this is really good use of your powers, and we can interrogate them." So they would go on and interrogate them, and if they refused to answer, Naruto would then just tighten and make the arc ball even smaller, essentially crushing them. In the end, they would reveal everything because it was legitimately the worst type of torture. So this would lead Kakashi to then questioning Tazuna. At first, Tazuna would try to lie, but soon he would reveal his problems and the fact that he had to lie about the danger of the mission because they didn't have enough money, and they have this guy named Gato going after him. He has a job to do, so he has to do it. He had no other choice. Learning of these things would annoy Kakashi, but he would understand Tazuna's circumstances. But they would wonder if they should continue the mission. Sakura would then yell, "Please sensei, we have to continue." Naruto and Sasuke would definitely agree, and Kakashi would say, why not, since Naruto easily took care of the demon brothers who were still in the arc. "So what about these two?" asked Naruto. "Kill them, if you can, that is." Naruto would then make a fist while pointing at the arc, and the brothers would just start to disintegrate while screaming in pain. "Alright then, let's go," says Naruto. Kakashi as well as everyone would be surprised at how fast he made the decision to kill people with no hesitation at all. Sasuke, seeing this, would think that before he can beat Itachi, he would need to be more like Naruto, even though he hates that. And Sakura is just scared because she's a little bitch. They would continue on, and all of a sudden, Kakashi tells everyone to duck, and they do while he pulls down Tazuna. However, Naruto stands there not ducking at all when all of a sudden a huge sword flies out at him. However, just before it hits him, he simply catches the sword and crushes the tip of the sword as he throws it to the side. Sasuke would then think, "What's with this freakish strength? Is he even human?" They would then get up and thank Naruto for taking care of that, but now they had to worry about who threw that. And Kakashi would tell his team to surround Tazuna and protect them as he fights the oncoming enemy. As they would do this, Zabuza would appear on a branch with his eyes just full of anger. "Oh, Sharingan Kakashi, was it you who broke my precious sword?" Kakashi would then say, "What if I was?" Zabuza would then land down full of rage. "Then I gotta kill you and drain you of blood from my blade." Kakashi and Zabuza would then fight with Zabuza covering the area with mist, and they would fight on the lake nearby when Kakashi would reveal his Sharingan and copy Zabuza's jutsu a bit. Of course, when it came to the taijutsu fight, Kakashi beat him completely because he couldn't get his sword back, and without this he had a bit of a disadvantage, and Kakashi would not let him get his sword back. However, in the end, Kakashi did end up being trapped in the water prison due to overexerting his Sharingan a bit, and seeing as their sensei was trapped, Naruto would hatch a plan with Sasuke. Sakura would of course stay behind and protect Tazuna. Meanwhile, Naruto would jump into the sky, and using his Yang release, he would create a bunch of arc spears at Zabuza, who was holding up Kakashi in the water prison. Sorry about that. "You would really risk killing your sensei just to get to me, brat?" asked Zabuza. Naruto would then say, "Oh, I'm more than willing. The point is, are you willing to die for the sake of your mission?" Naruto would smirk, showing that he is not afraid of doing what he is doing, and Zabuza would think this kid is a psycho. Seeing the speed of the attack, he figured he wouldn't be able to substitute in time, and thus he jumped back quickly out of the range of the attack. But in doing so, he realizes that the drills made of light particles started to dissipate as they approached Kakashi. "Damn it, they got me." As he says this, Zabuza would just stabbed right in the stomach with a kunai and then kicked in the jaw, which sends him flying back into the water. The one who injured him was Sasuke. The plan was for Naruto to attack while hiding something that Sasuke was transformed into. The Sasuke just transformed it into a kunai that was hiding in the arc spears, and then when he revealed himself, he just got Zabuza off guard. You know what I'm saying? Sasuke would then fall in the water while putting a thumbs up at Naruto, who did the same as he landed. Kakashi would then be released from the water prison and carry Sasuke out of the water. Kakashi would then thank the two as all of a sudden they feel a lot of bloodlust and look back to see Zabuza standing on the water while holding his stomach in just pain. "You little brats are gonna pay," says Zabuza. As he says this, however, Naruto would appear right in front of him while holding him up by the neck, and they would all realize that just like Kakashi and Zabuza, Naruto can walk on water. When the hell did he learn that, thinks Kakashi. As Kakashi would be thinking this, Sakura and Sasuke would be amazed by this, and then they become horrified as Naruto would start tightening his grip around Zabuza's neck to the point where his eyes looked like they were going to pop out of their sockets. Then Naruto would pull back his left arm and form a spear with his yin release. Any last words? Oh right, you can't really say much. As he would say this, he would go to stab Zabuza right in the stomach when all of a sudden Zabuza would have a senbon in the back of his neck and Naruto would feel someone behind him. This man belongs to us. I would appreciate it if you would let him go. As you can tell, he's already dead. Naruto would then turn back. Is that so? He would then once again release this murderous aura and it would terrify even Haku to his core, but with all his mustered strength he would answer yes, and Naruto would smirk as he tosses Zabuza over and Haku catches him and leaves with him. Naruto would then reappear by Kakashi and Sasuke saying that Anbu was suspicious. How so, says Kakashi. Naruto would then say, well, even if he had already killed Zabuza, it seemed that he really didn't want me to deal the final blow. In the grand scale of things, that shouldn't really matter. So you think they're working together? Asked Sasuke. Naruto would then nod as all of a sudden Kakashi would collapse, and this makes Sakura and Tazuna run over and worry. It seemed that Kakashi wasted a bit too much chakra, so they would ask Tazuna if there was a place close by where they could rest. Tazuna would say that they're in fact really close to his house, so Naruto would pick him up, and they would arrive at the land of the waves in a few hours or so. As they arrived, they would be welcomed by Tazumi, Tazuna's daughter, and she would allow them in, and they would lay Kakashi down to rest. Kakashi isn't like passed out. He barely used any chakra this time. He's still like awake, but he just can't move. Tazumi would then ask if he was okay, and Kakashi would say that he just won't be able to move for a week. Not if I can help it, says Naruto. He would then kneel down and lift up Kakashi's headband as he covers his Sharingan and starts healing him. And he says, obviously you're not an Uchiha, so you'll never be able to escape the penalties of overusing the Sharingan, but he would then circulate his yang energy through his chakra pass in his body, through his eyes, and in an instant, Kakashi would just sit up with his body shining, and everyone in the room would be amazed as Naruto continues talking. Lucky for you, I've got some pretty awesome abilities. How's it feel? Amazing. Kid, I think it's safe to say you're a pretty good medical ninja, says Kakashi. Naruto would then say, I guess. He would then help up Kakashi as they start talking about the possibility of Zabuza being alive, and they would conclude that it might just be the case that Zabuza is still alive, and due to this, now they had to stay on guard. Then another thought entered Kakashi's mind. I wanted to ask Naruto, how do you know how to walk on water already? Naruto would then just blankly say, I studied. Hearing this, Kakashi would pop up the idea of training Sasuke and Sakura because they need to stay prepared, and most of all, his team needs to grow stronger individually so they can be stronger together as a team. As they would be talking about this is when Inari would enter the room. Mom, who are these people? Asked Inari. Tazumi would then explain what they're here to do and what their job is, and Inari would tell them to give up because they can't beat Gato. Naruto would then approach him. And what exactly do you think Gato can do to us, or me for that matter? Don't make me laugh. From what I've heard, he's a lazy fat ass who can't defend himself. This job sounds pretty easy to me. We're ninja. He's a businessman. You do the math. He would then leave while slamming the door behind him, and Inari would then run back upstairs to his room to cry, and Kakashi would apologize. Tazumi would also apologize for his son's behavior, and Team 7 would leave to find Naruto so they could train, but they didn't have to look too far because he was just waiting for them outside. So they went to train in the forest. When they got to the forest, Kakashi showed them how to do the tree walking, and this amazed Sakura and Sasuke, but not Naruto because he had done way crazier things, like actually flying. And as Kakashi would be hanging upside down from the tree, Naruto would start to walk away from the group. Hey, where are you going, Naruto? To do my own training. Sorry, but this is not something that can really challenge me, says Naruto. They would all then think back to him standing on the water and almost literally killing Zabuza, and they can't really argue, so Naruto would go do his own thing, and Sasuke was trying way harder than in the original because he couldn't stand that Naruto was so far ahead of him. But because he sucked at controlling his chakra, he asked Sakura for some help. Sakura was happy because her crush was giving her some attention, but she soon realized that, Sasuke did not give a damn about her, and he was just filled with this need to chase after something. He did not care about them spending time together. And, it sucks, but too bad, bitch. As they would be training, Naruto would be practicing with his daggers and his yin release. So Naruto's yang release was already pretty good, but he needs to learn how to control his bloodlust, which is related to his yin side. From all these years, what he had realized is that his yin side only kind of spiked up when he got mad or got flashbacks of things that villagers and his classmates would do to him. So he would sit down and start thinking of the most painful memories, and moments like when he would get ridiculed due to his horrible chakra control. Even though he was pretty strong soon, and he was faking it by most of the time, it was still really real. The anger still felt real. Every moment he was beaten down and he could have done something, but he didn't want to expose his powers. It sucked. They were the worst and most unbearable moments ever. And as these moments would fill his head, a mark would appear by his cheek, and it would start to spread all around his left side. Sorry, his right side. His eyes would turn lifeless, and he started to lose control. He would create tentacles that would just start destroying the trees around him, and his team would hear this thing. They would run over to him with haste. But as they ran through the forest, they would be blown back by wind pressure and just slam into the trees near them. Naruto at this point was no longer in control, and he just felt powerless to control these abilities, and it's like they had a mind of their own. He wasn't even the master anymore. Damn it. Make it stop. Why won't it stop? He would be screaming in his mind when all of a sudden he does stop and he sees something bizarre. It's a cage, and it had these eyes coming out of them, some red eyes coming out of them. A voice would then say, "I guess you're not ready yet." These two eyes would then turn into a whole figure that looks like a fox. "Are you the Nine Tails? Why am I seeing you?" asked Naruto. "Because you're my Jinchuriki. What other reason is there?" Naruto would then go to ask more questions, but the Nine Tails would bring him back to reality, and he would find himself in a crater, and he was surrounded by his teammates. "Naruto, what happened?" asked Sasuke. Kakashi would then wonder if Naruto was transforming into the Nine Tails or if his dark powers were going out of control. Naruto would then tell him to move out of the way and let him get up. And when he does get up, he sees how much damage he has done to the forest and how battered his clothes were. Naruto would then explain what happened, but keep out the part about Kurama's appearance. He would keep that a secret. So for the rest of the day, he was not allowed to do any type of training until Kakashi allowed him to. And this is actually going to lead up to a few more days. So we're going to skip to when a few days have passed. And after a while, Kakashi trusted Naruto to train again, but under no circumstances was he allowed to use his yin release unless he met a ninja and he had to. But he could still train his yang release. So Naruto would have gotten up early in the morning that day and he was working on long ranged attacks, but he realized that his art can't really do much else besides maybe healing most of the time, and his what's it called, how did I forget that? His drills, they do take up a lot of energy. So he wanted to start testing a little theory. He would fill his body with light particles and use it as a sort of physical enhancement. But since he had never done this before, and since he was unnaturally strong and never needed to, every time he would hit a tree, he would discharge his yang energy a little later than his punches and kicks. But he would use this to his advantage and turn this problem into a powerful attack because, just like Yuji in Jujutsu Kaisen, he lands 2 attacks in 1 hit. He would take this concept from Invigorate. Invigorate is a spell that angels use, and they kind of use it to get rid of pain. They heal people. But I'm going to use this as a sort of physical enhancement. I've been thinking about it for a while. So he will name this Invigorate. He would keep training with this until he got tired and he had to take a break. And then he would see a girl picking up herbs and he would approach her. "Is that plant medicine?" Haku would then say, "Yeah, but I want to ask, what are you doing here so early?" "I'm training," says Naruto. "For yourself or for someone else?" Naruto would then answer, "Obviously for myself. I don't trust people." Haku would then say that this kind of thinking is wrong and that fighting for someone else is what makes you stronger. Naruto would then start walking away from her, as he would say, "Maybe you're right, but honestly from my point of view, I don't see the need to care about people. At most I'll just tolerate them." Haku would feel a bit sad for Naruto, but he had other things to do. Then he would leave while telling Naruto that he was a boy and not a girl in case that's what he was thinking, and we all know that's what he was thinking. Naruto would be shocked by this, but he doesn't okay, that's fine, you're a trap. Okay. But something else was more special about this guy. He felt familiar. It was like his scent. He felt like he had smelled it before. As he would be thinking about this, Sasuke would find him and ask him for some help. This kind of shocked Naruto because, Sasuke is always so prideful, but he can tell that he actually wants some help. so he would stay up until dark fighting with him. And as much as Sasuke tried, he could not land a hit on Naruto, but he definitely got like better heightened senses, and Naruto even helped him with his tree walking. Sasuke would like try to impress him, make him surprised by his power, but he never cared. Naruto was helping him train, but he didn't really care about Sasuke's power because all that matters is that he's strong enough to protect himself. Also, Sasuke is not that strong compared to this Naruto and never will be stronger, so yeah. So they trained a little more, and Naruto would work more on his enhancement technique, which I called Invigorate, and he even tested it against Sasuke, and it was just a total massacre. So by the time they went back to Tazen at night, Sasuke was battered and bruised all over. Naruto was fine and will be holding him up by the shoulder as he opens the door. Sorry we're late. The others would then welcome them as they sat down to eat, and while they're eating, Inari would ask, "Why do you guys care so much? You're gonna end up being killed like idiots. Stop being so nosy and leave. You don't know anything about this country." Naruto would then drop his plate as his anger overflows. "Shut up. I have no idea how hard life is. Stop whining. I didn't have a dad or a mom. I was an orphan. And you know what's the worst of it? No one liked me and I didn't know why. So stop acting like you're the only one with problems. You won't last a minute in my shoes." He would then stand up. "Thanks for dinner." He would leave as the room gets silent, and later that night, Kakashi would tell Inari a bit more about Naruto, and Inari would feel horrible because, he's been complaining about everything as if saying that Naruto had a perfect life or something, which is kind of messed up. But he's a kid, so, you change, you learn, blah, blah, blah. Now, time skip to the next day, and the team would leave to finish up the bridge, but Naruto would oversleep. Yes, I know I said Naruto doesn't really need to sleep, but he can choose to, alright? So I'm going to say that this time he oversleeps just for the sake of plot. So they leave without him, and as he was sleeping, he would hear a scream, and he would quickly open his eyes. By this point, Inari would be rushing at the thugs while yelling that they let go of his mom, and the two would go to slash him in half. But just as they're about to, Naruto would appear in front of them and stop their swords. "Don't you idiots have better things to do than hurt kids? Seriously? Swords? Come on." He would then crush the swords with his bare hands, and they would back away in fear. Inari would then look up to Naruto while on the floor as he would say, "Good job, kid. Maybe I was wrong about you." Naruto would then instantly appear in between the thugs and kick them both so hard that they hit the water and skip like stones. Inari would think that was super cool, as Naruto would kind of feel happy since people don't usually give him compliments, and then he would tell Inari to go take care of his mom while he goes to help his friends. As he approached the bridge, Naruto would see the mist, and this would give him a bad feeling. He would rush in full speed, and we cut to Sasuke fighting Haku. Sasuke, after training with Naruto for a while, had sharpened his senses, and with his personal training, his chakra control became more amazing than before. However, he was still being really beat up because Haku is pretty fast, and the man has skills, alright? But soon Naruto appeared on the scene, surprising everyone as he sent Haku flying with a punch, which also cracked his mask a bit. "You again. You'll pay for what you did last time," says Zabuza. He would then try to go for Naruto, but Haku would stop him, saying that he wants to fight Naruto. Naruto would then ask, "Hey Sasuke, you good?" "Of course I am. Now let me do..." Naruto would then cut him off. "Sorry. You had your chance. I need to let loose a little bit." He would then use Yin Release and create a giant scythe and swing at Haku, who would barely dodge it. He would then backflip and land only to feel a tap on his shoulder, as when he would turn back, he would be punched straight in the stomach. This punch was so strong that Haku started to throw up blood, and then he would look up to see what he could only describe as a demon, a literal abomination. He'd back away in fear, and Zabuza would be shocked at this. Did this kid just catch Haku off guard? As he would be thinking this, Kakashi would get him and catch him off guard and hit him, hit him back after they were going back and forth and say, "Sorry, but you can't afford to be distracted right now." As they would keep on fighting, Haku would create the Demon Ice Mirror Jutsu, which would envelop both Naruto and Sasuke. "Inside here, I'm unbeatable," says Haku. He would then appear in one of the mirrors and throw ice needles at the two, but Naruto would pull out his dagger and reflect the attacks quite easily, and he would keep doing this while protecting Sasuke, who soon got fed up with it, and he started to protect himself with his kunai. "I don't need your help, Naruto. I can take care of myself." While doing this, Sasuke will start to see Haku's movements, and this makes him unlock the One Tomori Sharingan. Naruto would notice this and think that it's pretty impressive, but honestly, it's time to end this. He would create two giant scythes from both his arms, and he would tell Sasuke to duck, and as he did, Naruto spun around and destroyed some of the mirrors in one hit. Haku would be shocked since he was losing. It's hard to describe. I mean, Haku is not like someone who's like really prideful, but he has a lot of skill, so it's hard for him to believe that he could be beaten so easily, especially his like best jutsu. So this would distract Zabuza again, and then he would be stabbed in the heart by Kakashi's Raikiri. Everyone would notice this, especially Haku, who would be on the floor holding her stomach. No! She would yell this as Kakashi would then pull out his Raikiri out of Zabuza's chest, and he would fall to his knees. Haku, seeing this, would be filled with rage and try to attack Kakashi, but he would be met by another punch to the stomach from Naruto. Honestly, I don't know why you care for that psycho, but it doesn't matter to me, says Naruto. Everyone would then watch as Naruto would barrage Haku with multiple kicks and hits until he stabs Haku in the stomach with a blade from his yin release. This was meant for your friend over there, but I guess you'll do. As Haku would be pierced by this attack, his mask would fall off and reveal his true face, and it would shock Naruto. You? It was you? Why? Because Mr. Zabuza is the person I fight for, says Haku. Naruto would then let Haku fall to the ground like a ragdoll as Kakashi would rush over to check on Sasuke. Then he looked at Naruto. Naruto, are you good? He would try to pat him on the shoulder, but he would be pushed back by a shockwave. Naruto would then turn around. Why? Why? Tears would then fall from his eyes, and both his eyes would turn black. His mark would then reappear as Kakashi quickly tells Sakura to take Tazuna and back away, and he did the same with Sasuke. And Sasuke was literally like, just, what the hell is going on? He did not know what was going on. And he would ask Kakashi, but Kakashi didn't know what to do. Naruto was exploding into a form similar to his father, only his father controlled it more, but he was letting his emotions drive him, and a certain purple aura would surround Naruto, as this aura would push everyone back even more. Kakashi would then tell Sasuke and Sakura to get on guard. So hearing this, Sasuke would activate his one Tomoe, and Sakura would put up her kunai while, telling Tazuna to take cover. Currently, what Naruto is experiencing is a feeling he hasn't felt in a while. He felt so weak that he couldn't do anything about it. Last time this happened, I mean, at least he was like fighting back, but this time he literally could not do anything. This is when he would see Kurama again. Wow, I see why your father didn't want you to use this too much. What, you knew my parents? Asked Naruto. Kurama would then nod. Right now, your powers are going out of control, kid. Lucky for you, that's why I'm here. Kurama would slam his hands together and Naruto would appear in the real world, and he sees himself floating off the ground as he is covered in black markings. These markings would then start to be absorbed by the seal on his stomach, and he lands back down to the ground. Luckily, he didn't destroy the bridge, and he would ask, what the hell is going on? He would then see his teammates with weapons out and they're on their guard. Kakashi would then slowly approach Naruto and ask him if he was okay. Naruto would say he's fine, but he doesn't know what's happening. And as he would say this, he would see Haku's corpse a few feet away from him, and he would hear a man speaking. Useless. This was Gato. They would all turn around to see him and his men. Gato would then come close to Haku's body, and he would kick it and keep kicking it while saying that he was useless and useless. But before he could do anything else, his leg would be cut off and he would fall on his ass. Naruto would then appear right next to him and stab him through his heart with his hands holding out his heart, and he crushes it. You shouldn't have done that. He would then take his hand out of Gato's chest and he would proceed to decimate the rest of Gato's men. The villagers would then arrive with Inari leading them as they would see what Naruto had done. And even though Naruto was expecting them to call him a monster because he was literally like murdering people, they actually cheered for him and Team 7. Naruto and his team would then help Tazuna with the bridge, and they would bury Zabuza and Haku next to each other with the broken executioner's sword at their graves. From this point on, Naruto would have developed his ninja way. People like Haku don't deserve to die, so he promised himself to protect people that he held dear. Just because the villagers hate him doesn't mean he has to be so isolated from everyone. Inari and Naruto would then make up as they apologize to each other, and then Team 7 leaves. And the bridge was still be called the Naruto Bridge. And this would spread rumors and ripples throughout the ninja world, and as they would be leaving, Naruto would notice that his clothes are completely battered, and it kind of made him mad. As he would be checking his ripped clothes out, Sasuke would ask what the hell happened back there, and why does it seem that both him and Kakashi know something that they won't tell him and Sakura. Naruto's past is something you should not pry into, says Kakashi. But why? And what's this awakening thing you keep talking about? Yells Sasuke. Naruto would then say, how the hell should I know? No one's gonna tell me anything. Naruto would then walk forward with his arms around his head, and Sasuke's a bit pissed off because they're not telling him anything, but while Naruto was doing this, he'll be talking to Kurama, and like he said, no one wants to tell him anything. Kurama seems to be hiding info from him, and the fact that he was a Jinchuriki was the only thing that Kurama would explain to him, like how he got sealed inside him. And Naruto wanted to know more, like why he was the way he is, and why doesn't Kurama hate him, even though from the stories, I mean, he's kind of a monster. You ask too many questions, kid. I'll tell you later when you're ready, says Kurama. He would then kick him out once again, and Naruto would be royally pissed. Now, time skip to everyone being back at Konoha, and for once in a while, Naruto slept before the next day had come, and rumors would start to spread about Naruto and his team. People would talk about how they must have just gotten lucky because Naruto definitely is not that strong, so they think that the Uchiha and Kakashi must have done everything. Naruto would have heard these whispers during their next mission, and it pissed him off, but he didn't expect anything else. Now, one day when Naruto would have had a day off, he would be walking around when he hears a kid screaming. Man, these people are so loud, says Naruto. He would then turn a corner and see a kid being held up by the collar, and that kid was Konohamaru, the Hokage's grandson. Seeing this, Naruto would rush over, and in an instant he would be in front of Kankuro, who was holding the kid up. Let the kid go. And what if I don't? What are you gonna do about it, says Kankuro. Hearing these words would be the final straw for Naruto. He's been through too much shit lately, so he would grab Kankuro's hand and start to squeeze it. Naruto would say, this is the Hokage's grandson. If you don't let him go, not only will you start a war, but you'll lose an arm. And you in the tree, are you with these dumbasses? Tamari, who was behind Kankuro, would be shocked, and so would be Kankuro, as well as Gaara. Gaara would then jump down, and Kankuro finally had enough, and Naruto at this point was breaking his bones, so he let go of Konohamaru, and, well, Konohamaru would thank Naruto. What's your name? Asked Gaara. Naruto would then let go of Kankuro's arm and just throw him to the side. Uzumaki Naruto. What's it to you? Kankuro and Tamari would think that Naruto is stupid because no one talks to Gaara that way, and Gaara would smile as he then turns back saying, I hope you'll be in the Chunin exams. I wouldn't mind having the honor of killing you. Naruto, hearing these words, would smirk. And what makes you think you can? Welcome to the end of the video. I know you missed that clap. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm sorry that I haven't posted in a while. It's literally been 8 days, and I'm very sorry about that. I'm still working on it. This place is gonna take a while to get accustomed to. I'm not sure how things are gonna go now. But there is one thing that will be for sure. You guys will always be hearing a lot of background noise now compared to where I used to live. You might be hearing something right now, and I can't really do anything about that, so you're gonna have to just deal with it. I am sorry. Yeah, I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Man, saying those words are so weird now. It's been too long, man. And share this with anybody else who might like what ifs. I'm gonna go do my assignments, and I will work on what if Asta was a conduit, and after that we're officially getting back into Naruto what ifs. And if you like this series enough, I might just make part 3 next, along with what if Asta was a conduit. So yeah, I'm gonna go. I hope you like this. Bye.